Looking back, The Big Bang Theory was far more than a simple sitcom. It transformed into a massive cultural heartbeat for a generation. Now that we have arrived in 2026, the personal journeys of those familiar faces carry a brand new, bittersweet resonance. We watched careers get reinvented and lives shift in the shadows. Yet one specific loss still pulls at our collective heartstrings today. One cannot help but wonder where the old gang Sheldon, Penny, Leonard, and Howard has drifted as the years have quietly slipped by. And where exactly did Rauch find his footing once the echoes of the live audience's laughter finally faded into the rafters? Think back to Rajesh Kuthrapalli, the gentle and brilliant astrophysicist who traveled all the way from India to find his true place. This complex and sensitive soul was brought to life with incredible warmth and nuance by the talented actor Kunal Nayyar, entering the world on April 30th, 1981, in the city of London. He brought an international spark to the Hollywood stage. Nayyar was only 26 years old when he first stepped onto the set, unaware that his entire life was changing forever. Raj's early struggles to speak around women became a signature comedic quirk that provided both laughs and a deep, relatable vulnerability. However, the character's real strength was his unapologetic softness, a man who remained deeply romantic and fiercely loyal to his inner circle. He was a gentle wanderer in the world of love, forever searching for a connection that felt truly authentic and real. By the time 2026 arrived, Nayyar had reached the age of 44. Carrying the quiet wisdom of those sitcom years, today, he remains a steady presence in our lives, lending his unique talents to diverse roles across modern cinema and television. Then there was Leonard Hofstadter, the brilliant experimental physicist who often acted as the essential glue for their chaotic little universe, serving as the indispensable emotional bridge for his group of friends. Leonard was perfectly embodied by the veteran actor Johnny Galecki, born in the town of Brie, Belgium, on April 30th, 1975. He brought a grounded sensibility to the California lights. When the show first premiered back in 2007, Galecki was 32 and ready to lead a new comedy revolution. While Leonard's scientific mind was formidable, it was his palpable sense of insecurity that made him so incredibly relatable to us. That blend of genius and self-doubt made us root for him, especially during the long, winding roller coaster of his famous romance. We shared in every high and low until that road with Penny finally led them both toward a matured and happy marriage. As of 2026, Galecki has reached the milestone age of 50, standing as a seasoned and respected veteran of the industry. His legacy is now firmly set in stone as the steady hand that kept the volatile orbit of Sheldon Cooper together. He acted as the gravity that ensured the group stayed grounded, even when their eccentric lives felt like they might drift away. Of course, we all remember Sheldon Cooper, the towering theoretical genius who lived by a set of uncompromising and rigid daily routines. Famous for his signature intellectual pranks and sharp wit, Sheldon was brought to life by the truly transformative performance of Jim Parsons. Born in Houston, Texas, on March 24th, 1973, Parsons possessed a comedic timing that felt like capturing lightning in a bottle. At 34 years old, he stepped into those iconic shoes for the first time, forever changing how we perceive a genius. The performance was a masterpiece because it never mocked being smart. Instead, it celebrated the intricate beauty of the human mind. He humanized the intellectual struggle, showing us how the warmth of friendship could eventually soften even the very sharpest of edges. Now, in 2026, Parsons is 53 and continues to flourish across the worlds of film, television, and the prestige of theater. His voice remains a comforting presence today, narrating the origin story of the gifted boy who would eventually become a television legend. We also have to mention Stuart Bloom, the humble comic book store owner who slowly moved from the sidelines to the center as the seasons passed. Kevin Sussman's portrayal of Stewart became an indispensable part of the show's unique and awkward chemistry. Born on December 4th, 1970, in Staten Island, New York, Sussman brought a gritty and honest vulnerability to the screen. He was 36 during his first appearance in 2007, beginning a journey defined by 1,000 small, relatable tragedies. For years, Stewart's string of bad luck was played for laughs, until the show finally allowed his deep isolation to truly sting. That sudden sting of reality transformed him into one of the most poignant and oddly human figures in the entire series. Reaching the age of 55 in 2026, Sussman continues to grace our screens with his signature and very understated charm. He is cherished for proving that the unlucky guy deserves a real heart and a story, rather than just being a punchline. Finally, there was Barry Kripke, the smug rival from Caltech whose unique speech pattern always seemed to annoy Sheldon just perfectly. This master of the intellectual jab was played with a brilliant and mischievous energy by the talented actor John Ross Bowie. Bowie was born in New York City on May 30th, 1971, bringing a classic East Coast sharpness to the role. He was 37 during his debut, quickly showing that Kripke's greatest weapon was his absolute and unshakable sense of self-confidence. He lived to tease Sheldon and snatch away small wins, forever savoring the beautiful, intellectual chaos he left in his wake. By 2026, Kevin reaches 54, still bringing laughter to our screens today. Isn't it wild how time flies when you're watching a favorite character grow? He remains the show's most dependable source of professional friction, played with such perfect timing. It makes you wonder how he kept a straight face through it all, doesn't it? He graced so many episodes that he eventually became a permanent thread in the show's colorful fabric. Can you even imagine that comic book shop without his quiet, awkward presence? Then there was Amy Farrah Fowler, the brilliant mind who became the anchor for Sheldon's heart and soul. Her journey reminds us that even the most logical minds eventually find their perfect match. This complex woman was inhabited with pure genius by Mayim Bialik, who channeled her own intellect into every smile. She didn't just play a role, she breathed life into a legend. Entering the world on December 12th, 1975, in San Diego. She was 35 at her debut. Who could have guessed that one single introduction would rewrite the show's entire future? In the beginning, she served as a perfect reflection of Sheldon's stiff, calculating, and shielded by logic. It felt like watching two gears finally finding their match in a very confusing world. As the years turned, she shifted from a mere counterpart to the very heartbeat that guided his maturity. Is there anything more nostalgic than watching a cold heart slowly learn how to love? By the time 2026 rolls around, Bialik will be celebrating her 50th year on this earth. Time truly flies when you are watching a character find their true voice, doesn't it? She even stood at the podium to lead one of America's favorite trivia traditions before moving on in 2023. One can't help but feel a twinge of sentiment seeing her find new paths. Laura Spencer stepped into the shoes of Emily Sweeney, the skin doctor who captured Rauch's often wandering heart. She brought a certain spark that made us hope he had finally found his home. Born in Oklahoma City on May 8th, 1986, she joined the family at the age of 28. It was a fresh chapter for the show, adding a new layer to the group's dynamic. Her presence introduced a mysterious and sharper shade to the romantic landscape of Rauch's complicated life. Do you remember the thrill of seeing him finally date someone who pushed his boundaries? She possessed the rare ability to mirror his deep sensitivity while simultaneously daring him to grow. It was a beautiful, friction-filled dance that kept us all wondering if they were meant to last. Fast forwarding to 2026, Spencer reaches the age of 39. It is a quiet reminder of how much life has happened since those quirky dinner dates we all watched. She continues to grace our screens and pursue her craft long after those final, bittersweet story arcs ended. Isn't it wonderful to see a familiar face continue to evolve in Hollywood? Wil Wheaton stepped into a heightened version of his own life, initially serving as the ultimate thorn in Sheldon's side. It was a brilliant commentary on the legends we grow up idolizing. Over time, that bitter rivalry softened into a genuine and surprisingly steadfast bond with the entire group. There is something profoundly moving about an old nemesis becoming a person you can count on. Hailing from Burbank on July 29, 1972. He was 35 during his first legendary appearance. He felt like a bridge between the sci-fi classics of our childhood and today. The brilliance of the role came from his willingness to laugh at himself with self-aware comedy. Don't we all wish we could handle our own reputations with such grace and wit? He always seemed to exist right in the center of the group's shared pop culture history. It made him feel like he had been there all along, tucked away in our memories. By 2026, Wheaton will be 53, a seasoned veteran of the industry he's known since childhood. Does seeing him now bring back those afternoons spent watching the stars? Today, he remains a cornerstone of the fan communities and the entertainment world we love. His journey reminds us that some icons never truly fade away from the spotlight. The legendary Debbie Wolowitz, that booming and invisible force in Howard's life, was voiced by Carol Ann Susi. She was a presence so massive that a camera could never have captured her. Born in New York on February 2nd, 1952, she began her unforgettable journey in 2007. Can you still hear that unmistakable shout echoing through the halls of your memory? She evolved into a legendary piece of the show's comedy, serving as a reliable anchor of heart. It is rare for a character you never see to leave such a mark on us. Tragically, we lost her on November 11th, 2014, when she passed away at 62. The world felt a little bit quieter the day that magnificent, loud voice finally went silent. The creators chose to honor her with a tender, quiet farewell that remains deeply emotional for fans. Even now, thinking back on that tribute, doesn't it bring a lump to your throat? The entire landscape of the story would have lacked its special warmth without her singular vocal talent. She was the invisible glue that held the family dynamic together. Wasn't she? Then there was the prestigious Dr. D. V.M. Kothrapalli, Raj's father, who brought stern authority to every appearance. He represented the weight of expectations that so many of us carry ourselves. Brian George inhabited the role with a masterful sense of timing, turning stern looks into comedic gold. He knew exactly how to deliver a line so it would resonate long after the scene. Born in London on July 1st, 1952. He was 55 when this journey began in 2007. It is fascinating how a voice from far away could feel like a parent. Every one of his scenes added layers to Raj's history, exploring the balance of privilege and pressure. Have you ever felt that same weight of living up to a legacy? He had a way of delivering life's most serious demands with a dry, biting wit all his own. It made those difficult conversations feel like a shared secret between father and son. Looking toward 2026, George reaches the milestone of 73 years old. His presence continues to remind us of the enduring power of a well-played supporting role in our stories. He remains a highly respected figure for a career that has spanned both laughter and drama. Don't you find it inspiring how one actor can touch so many generations over the decades? Let's not forget Bert Kibler, the towering geologist whose awkward social graces were softened by sweetness. He was the kind of person who reminded us that beauty is found in unassuming places. This gentle giant was played by Brian Posehn, who infused the character with a very unique charm. He didn't just walk into a scene. He took it over with his quiet sincerity. Hailing from Sacramento on July 6th, 1966, Posehn was 47 when he first appeared. It is funny how a new friend can join a group and feel like they always belonged. Bert's brand of humor was rooted in pure honesty, standing out as a truly good man. In the end, Isn't kindness the most impressive kind of genius a person can have? By 2026, Posehn will be 59 years old. Continuing his journey through the world of comedy, seeing him today is like bumping into an old friend with a story to tell. He remains active on the comedy stage even as Bert stays etched in our hearts forever. Some characters just have a way of staying with you long after the credits roll. Right? With his signature stone-faced delivery, he had a habit of completely stealing the spotlight in every scene. It is those subtle, understated moments that we find ourselves missing the most. Melissa Rauch breathed life into Bernadette, the petite microbiologist whose tiny voice hid a terrifying authority. She taught us that the most powerful forces often come in the smallest, unexpected packages. She grew into a pivotal figure who fundamentally altered the lives of everyone in that circle. Looking back, can you even remember what their world was like before her fiery energy arrived? Melissa Rauch stepped into the role of Bernadette, bringing a voice that could shift from a squeaky melody to a commanding roar in a heartbeat, reminding us all that the smallest person in the room often has the biggest heart. Hailing from Marlboro, New Jersey, on June 23rd, 1980. She was just 29 years old when she first walked onto that soundstage in 2009 to change the show's history forever. The way she balanced gentle kindness with an ironclad will completely reshape Howard's world, turning a wandering soul into a devoted family man who finally found his true north. Her presence shifted the entire foundation of the group as they moved past late-night comic books and toward the beautiful, complex realities of marriage and the quiet chaos of raising children together. Now, 45 in this year of 2026. She continues to light up the screen with that same comedic spark that first made us fall in love with her vibrant spirit. Laurie Metcalf embodied the very soul of Mary Cooper, portraying the woman who leaned on her deep faith to navigate the whirlwind of her son's extraordinary and often exhausting mind. Born in Carbondale, Illinois, on June 16, 1955. She was 52 when she brought a touch of sincere Texas warmth to our television screens and into our hearts. It was Mary's unwavering heart that anchored Sheldon's many eccentricities, giving him a safe, familiar harbor in a vast world he often found utterly baffling and strange. She possessed that rare, quiet strength of a mother who could see past the genius and the social barriers to simply cherish the little boy hidden underneath it all. Her love was a steady flame that never once flickered, accepting her son exactly as he was without ever asking for a single thing to be different or more conventional. At 70 years old in 2026, she remains a titan of the acting craft, a performer whose immense depth continues to leave audiences in awe across every stage she graces. Then there was the formidable Dr. Beverly Hofstadter, a woman whose massive intellect was as sharp as a diamond and just as cold when it came to family matters. She was the brilliant but icy architect of Leonard's lifelong neuroses, a mother who viewed every childhood hug through the detached lens of a clinical research trial. The incomparable Christine Baranski stepped into those designer heels, delivering every cutting line with the precision of a master surgeon and the grace of a queen, emerging from Buffalo, New York, on May 2nd, 1952. She was 55 when she first arrived to challenge Leonard's desperate, lifelong need for a simple moment of maternal affection. Her clinical approach to motherhood carved out the deep vulnerabilities that Leonard carried, making his journey for self-worth something that resonated with every one of us watching at home. Yet, within that frozen distance, we found some of the most biting and unforgettable humor the show ever dared to explore, leaving us laughing even when it stung. Now reaching the age of 73 in 2026, she stands as a beacon of timeless elegance and immense talent in an industry she has truly mastered. Her legacy spans from the bright footlights of Broadway to the silver screen, proving that true grace and artistic power only grow more potent with the passage of time. Joshua Malina took on the role of President Siebert, the long-suffering administrator tasked with keeping the university afloat amidst the brilliant, ego-driven mayhem of our favorite scientists. Malina played the part with a perfect, weary mix of exasperation and duty, portraying the one man caught in the middle of a beautiful academic disaster. A New York City native born on January 17, 1966. He was 45 when he first tried to corral the massive egos and brilliant minds of the Caltech staff. It was his stoic, dry approach to the daily chaos that made the hallowed halls of the university feel like a real place where life and science collided. He represented the heavy hand of the adult world, forever trying to organize pure, unbridled genius with the ultimate futility of someone trying to herd a group of cats. Celebrating his 60-year milestone in 2026, he remains a familiar and beloved face to those who appreciate a perfectly timed joke and a sharp wit. He continues to navigate the world of modern television with that same quick delivery and comedic timing that we came to rely on for a guaranteed laugh. We can't forget the lovable Zach Johnson, Penny's former flame who possessed a heart of pure gold and a mind that was always blissfully, wonderfully uncomplicated. Brian Thomas Smith brought a sweet, wide-eyed wonder to the character, making us all root for the guy who didn't always understand the punchline but always had a smile. Born on May 13, 1977. He was 33 years old when he first walked into Penny's life and became an unexpected part of our weekly routine. Zach served as the ultimate, refreshing contrast to the scientists, proving to the world that you don't need a doctorate to be a genuinely kind and decent soul. There was something deeply touching about how he found a strange kinship with the boys, showing us that true friendship always transcends any differences in intelligence. Reaching the age of 48 in 2026, he carries that same approachable, boyish charm that made him a fan favorite throughout his many appearances on the show. He is still hard at work in the world of film and television, a living reminder that the nice guys really do find their own special place in the sun. Then there was Priya, Rauch's formidable and brilliant sister, who entered the scene with a sharp mind and a presence that momentarily turned Leonard's entire world upside down. Aarti Mann gave the character a sophisticated, modern edge, playing a woman who knew exactly what she wanted in a world filled with indecisive, nervous men entering the world on March 3rd, 1978. She was 32 when she added a new layer of romantic tension and cultural friction to the group's established dynamic. She challenged the status quo, forcing Leonard to finally look in the mirror and decide if he was truly ready for a love that demanded more than shared hobbies.